India INX exchange and how it is placed in.
The parent is BSE.
There's a lot of geopolitical tension. US markets perform good.
IBM or an Apple, or people look at Tesla cars.
Invest into global markets.
Thought process which is there at least among the Indian investors today, trying to look to diversify. How can I own a fraction of that or something?
Fund transfer under the LRSSF. So how GIFT City is actually solving this problem?
To put the theme as global investments.
Or global market access to the Indian investor.
They are objective. They are time horizon.
But all these young guys, they are actually tracking the AI, semiconductor and the chips.
The technology has made it very seamless.
Yeah. Investors are now looking for investments outside India.
What is their risk profile? What is their risk appetite?
One piece of advice to a 25-year-old investor.
So somebody who is new to the capital markets, I think so the best way to try and go two ways.
Hello all. India is going global and so are Indian investors. 2025-26 data shows that overseas investment by Indians has grown drastically. Indian investors are now exploring foreign markets, global markets under the LRS scheme. Welcome to Unboxing GIFT City, our podcast where we discuss events, news, products and what's happening there in GIFT City, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. And today we are talking about how an Indian resident can access global markets seamlessly through GIFT City. And today I have with me Mr. Vijay Krishnamurthy, Managing Director and CEO of India INX Exchange GIFT City. Welcome to the show, Mr. Vijay.
Thank you so much, Nitinji, for having me on this show. It's indeed a pleasure to having discussed GIFT City. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay. Before we dive into the main subject, could you share a bit about India INX Exchange and how it is placed in GIFT City ecosystem, sir?
Absolutely. So India INX, as we all know, is the parent is BSE, the Bombay Stock Exchange, which is now more than 150 years old. So as India INX, we established ourselves in Jan of 2017, and we were the first exchange to be registered and to be incorporated there. And we started operations in 2017, inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. So from there, the journey has been quite exciting, and it's been a little bit, under 2 years that I have been part of the India INX story. But to say that, we have actually made slow but steady progress. So our listings, just to look at it, if you were to look at it, our listings have, on the debt side, have grown significantly. We still hold a more than 90% market share there. We have more than 170, debt issuances that has happened there, and things are moving in that direction. Plus, in 2018, we have our own 100% subsidiary that is operating since 2018, which is the INX Global Access, or India INX Global Access, as India INX G, as we would call it. So, with the recent gap surplus, that's also doing extremely well. We are also soon seeing some offshoots on the on the equity listing. So that's also something which is going to be there. And as an exchange as well, we see a lot more exciting products that we are envisaging to launch. Hopefully in this, we are working towards launching some of this in the current financial year. So that will also see a lot more traction in that direction.
Thank you, sir. There's a lot of geopolitical tension we are witnessing as of now because of the Middle East crisis and all. But still, we are seeing that US markets are still managing to perform good and strong. So do you think that the Indian retail investors who want to, say, invest into global markets, they should now try out the investments into US stocks, US ETFs through the platforms that are provided, that are there available in GIFT City, sir?
See, absolutely. I think so. Geopolitical tensions in the last 2 to 3 years has been, quite prevalent, and there have been a lot of headwinds because of that. But having said that, the investment thought process which is there, at least among the Indian investors today, is they are trying to look to diversify.
Exactly.
And because some of the US stocks names are quite popular and quite prevalent, and some of them are used in our day-to-day life. So for example, a Microsoft or an IBM or an Apple, or people look at Tesla cars. So those are all very, today in a way has become a household name. So people do want to think that, how can I own a fraction of that or something like that. So I think so right now, given that scenario and given that thought process and given that, we are having, younger investors, or I would say, people who have just started working, also looking to see how they can invest and grow their wealth. So I think it's a good opportune time for them to really look at some of these markets, because everything is enabled through technology.
Yes.
So definitely, but I would also like to say that I would like to put the theme as global investments. I would not want somebody to restrict themselves to a US market, but there's a lot of avenues globally as well,
Yes.
right? So they could, that's a theme that I would actually put it forward to if you were to ask me.
Yeah.
Right.
So you mean to say that the new generation of investors, they are trying out this new space, which is global markets?
See, honestly speaking, I do
Or
not
it's
have
a mix of.
Yeah, I do not have the investor profile with me as to which is the kind of investor, the age group which is trying to look at it. But all I can say is the technology has made it very seamless.
Yes.
For any kind of investor who's looking to really, invest and diversify their portfolio and see, what are those various asset classes and various geographical diversifications that I could have on my portfolio. So it could be people who are a young working class, it could be some middle-aged people, or it could be somebody who is in their stage wherein they are planning to maybe send their kids abroad for studies.
So they can create a USD asset.
They are trying to create an USD based
Yes.
asset. So it could be a mix of everything. Given that this investor profile data is very limited.
Yes.
We may not really be able to attribute as to which, but yes, that is in my view, having spoken to multiple market participants, it's going to be a mix, right? It's going to be a mix where people are looking for various purposes to go and invest in global markets.
So there are some clear benefits of investing globally. One is, you rightly said, that diversification. Second is getting benefit of the currency appreciation also for
Absolutely.
Indian investors. And third could be that they can now get exposure to some AI themes, semiconductor themes, and then the new technology themes also. So all this is making sense. So what could be the percentage of, say, allocation that an investor should do in global markets as per your view?
See, that actually the risk profile of each individual is very different, right? So to specify a particular asset allocation to a particular asset class or diversification into a global stock is very, to comment on that or put a number to that may not be a right thing to do. Because what I would just want to say is that it is basically each one needs to do based on their risk profiling, their objective, their time horizon,
Yes.
as to what is the time horizon that they're looking for, what is the objective with which they are going global and investing, and what is their risk profile, what is their risk appetite. So each one, it would be very different and very, they can actually, work out with their own self or with. The technology has made it very seamless.
Yes.
For any kind of investor who's looking to really, invest and diversify their portfolio and see, what are those various asset classes and various geographical diversifications that I could have on my portfolio. So it could be people who are a young working class, it could be some middle-aged people, or it could be somebody who is in their stage wherein they are planning to maybe send their kids abroad for studies.
They can create a USD asset.
They are trying to create an USD based
Yes.
asset. So it could be a mix of everything. Given that this investor profile data is very limited.
Yes.
We may not really be able to attribute as to which, but yes, that is in my view, having spoken to multiple market participants, it's going to be a mix, right? It's going to be a mix where people are looking for various purposes to go and invest in global markets. Each one needs to do based on their risk profiling, their objective, their time horizon,
Yes.
as to what is the time horizon that they're looking for, what is the objective with which they are going global and investing, and what is their risk profile, what is their risk appetite. So each one, it would be very different and very, they can actually work out with their own self or with some advisor who's well aware of that, because I think so there are many RIs within India itself now who are doing research, and they are also into advisory business. So I think so they should take the right advice, or they should do it themselves with the right risk profiling, and then allocate whatever portion of they want to do it globally. But it is very clear that people are now looking to go global, as you rightly mentioned. One of the very key reasons being currency hedge. Right, currency hedge, and what are the various objectives with which one wants to go.
So the Indian investors could be worried about the taxing. Other platforms are also available there in GIFT City. So how it actually resolves the problems, if I could use this word, sir.
See, I would not say I would not define this a problem. Right. Earlier also there were avenues for people to invest in the global markets. But today what has happened is, with this route, with the IFSC, the GIFT IFSC coming out of the GAP circular, and the exchanges having a GAP license, what it has created is an easy access for the Indian investors to do. They know the medium through which it has to be done. And the key aspect that I would put across is, there is a significant amount of trust now they can have, because they'll be going through an entity which is a regulated entity, which is regulated by an Indian regulator, but of course which is in a foreign jurisdiction but located within India. And so, if for example, if I was to take the example, as you mentioned, INX Global Access, India INX Global Access is a GAP license holder and a provider. So we have in parentage of a legacy where our parents are BSE, which is having a legacy of more than 150. So that's a significant trust that Indian investors can associate with that. And I believe that is a very big factor for any investor to really go through, because they have somebody now to say that, okay, this is an issue. Where do I go to? So they know they can definitely knock on the doors of an exchange, which is again within the regulated gamut. So we are an MII. So that gives a significant amount of comfort for people to do these transactions.
Yeah, you're right, sir, because the regulator is there. So the product is under the umbrella of a framework which is by the
so that has actually helped. The GAP framework has actually helped, because it has put a complete structure. So as I said, as GA, as global access providers, we started in 2018. And we did tie up with multiple international brokers. We were giving these, opportunities to trade in more than 150 stock exchanges across 33 countries in about 25 odd currencies. We were doing that. So since 2018, we were doing that, and we've been doing well, and it's been doing slowly and steadily. But with this GAP circular coming in, it has actually opened a lot of doors for actual Indian retail participants to participate, because there's a lot of comfort that they derive now. And for doing this entire activity. In fact, I just want to throw some stats. After the GAP circular came in, actually the number of client onboarding, or the number of clients that got registered, has gone up 10x.
Okay.
So I would just say in Q3, I guess we onboarded about 500 odd clients. In Q2,
that was the start.
Yeah, that was the start. So in Q2 again 500, Q3 again 500. In Q4, it's gone close to about, to be exact, it's some 4,800, but I would just close to 5,000. So you would see the effects. So in November, we got the GAP license. November or December, we got the GAP license. And I would just attribute 1 month to the entire process and compliance and other things. But in the last quarter, we saw a significant jump. And some of the very serious, large discount firms in the Indian domestic market are now coming in there. So you can see how it is, really elevated there.
Yeah, even we have contributed on this.
No, absolutely. It's been the whole ecosystem. So, I always speak about this, wherever I get an opportunity. For a GIFT IFSC, it's an ecosystem that has to develop. And without actually, sharing or without contributing in each other's growth, it's very difficult for IFSC to grow. So it's more of a symbiotic relationship that, each of us as an ecosystem is sharing.
Thank you, Vijay. Now let's talk about the India INX Global Access platform. By the way, for the audience, I would like to mention that the GAP framework, which Vijay is talking about, is basically a framework issued by the regulator, and it's Global Access Provider Framework, which allows entities to provide global access or global market access to the Indian investors. Let us come to India INX. What sets it apart? Because there are other platforms also coming up there in Gift City. What unique opportunities, or you can say products, that it is offering as of now, and what are the future plans, sir?
Yeah. So very clearly, as I said, we are the pioneers in this. Established global access in 2018. So we do understand the rules, regulations, and we've got tie up with multiple international brokers. Right, we have got about 5 or 6 tie-ups, and we are increasing that as well. So what this does is it provides access to about 150 stock exchanges across about 30 odd countries with about 25 plus currencies. So there is a huge avenue for somebody who wants to participate. It could be prop traders to access various markets, derivatives thing. It could be the retail resident investors who want US stocks, who wants to hold fractions in US stocks, and who wants to maybe invest in ETFs. Right, so all of these things are available under one umbrella. That's number one. So this is something as a product suite that we are providing. We have a very experienced, and this is very important.
But the present gap global access platform provides only US stocks and US ETFs, right? So,
no,
okay,
no, that's okay. If that is the thing, it is not. It provides a complete global access.
Okay.
Right, you can access global. So as I said, we give access across 33 countries, across 150 stock exchanges, right? So that's not it's only US. The other point is also very important to mention is because we have a very experienced team there, right? So the support we provide support, and we are there on calls to provide these supports. We are very soon starting, something called as an support through WhatsApp, and we are trying to involve new technology in trying to see how best we can support them. That's the other aspect. Third thing is we are going to use technology very extensively, not only from a support perspective. It's also going to be from an access perspective and an ease perspective. We are tying up with so our objective would be to see how we could provide all of these services at a very competitive cost. So there are multiple things that we're trying to do. We're trying to get PSP into the picture. We're trying to tie up with multiple banks to see if there could be better rates that could be offered because of the volumes that we could offer to them. So all of these things is something that we are doing. Then we have the APIs to connect. We have the mobile app which is available on the App Store, the App Store or the Play Store, whatever that is on the iPhone as well as on the Android based systems. So all of these things are there. So one thing is very clear, and plus one very very key aspect as India INX GA that I would like to say that as per the GAP circular, or as Nitinji really mentioned, as Global Access Provider regulations, or the circular that was issued in the August of 2025, it very clearly states that an subsidiary of an exchange can only provide unlisted products. So which means that India INX GA, so if I was to take the other GAP people who are coming in, of course, they're coming in with their own objectives. But for us, the unique thing, other unique thing apart from all of these USPs is also going to be that we are the only ones who will be able to provide, or the exchange subsidiary of NGAP can only provide an unlisted product, so in which global mutual funds can also be added.
So all these are future.
All of these things are something which is going to be, which we are working on, and maybe hopefully if all of these things get resolved, maybe in this coming year we'll see a lot of these things happening. So just to put it out in short, technology, support, and the unique products that is being worked upon and which is already existing is something that we strongly believe that we will clearly stand out in this whole thing.
So there are various differential advantages that the Global Access platform provides. One is definitely the digital onboarding. There are no trading account charges or AMC charges. The fund transfer is very easy through the banking arrangements that the platform has, and all these and the platform is also available, and rightly said by Vijayji that it is available on the Google Play Store, Android Store, as well as Apple Store. So you can download it, and you can in minutes you can open your account, trading account. You can transfer funds digitally, and you can access the all the global markets. So Vijay, one last question. Now, if you had one piece of advice to a 25-year-old investor who is new to the investments, what it would be? I mean, for an investor who is looking for global investments.
Okay. So considering that they are young people, and if possibly we are a little, a little old school of thought. So somebody who is new to the capital markets, I think so the best way to try and go is through two ways. One is the mutual fund route or the ETF route.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than directly plunge yourself into the individual stocks, because all of these are professionally managed, and they can help you. And then as and when people start understanding the markets, then they may take bets on on individual stock. But if I were a 25-year-old person who's entering into a new market, so for me, I would possibly explore the mutual fund route or the ETF route to begin with.
But all these young guys, they are actually tracking the AI, semiconductor, and the chips, etc., industries. And now, since they have access to all these stocks, they are inclined towards. We are seeing this. I mean, we are seeing this happening, that investors are now looking for investments outside India.
No, that's absolutely, and perfectly fine. I think so. They are, and if I was to say, if I was to compare, when we were that age and what is today, things have changed significantly. There's significant amount of information available. So my only point is, there's nothing, no harm in exploring those markets. But if it is just that be an informed investor, take your informed decisions is what I would say. I'm not saying that you restrict yourself to a mutual fund or ETF, but since somebody is going to really begin with, and testing the waters, then that is what it should be. But if somebody, and in today's generation, I think so, they are far ahead, they're well read, and they have got a lot of information with them.
Yes.
Right? And cutting edge information is available at the click of a finger for them. So for such a cases, take informed decisions. That's all.
You're very rightly said, sir. So for someone listening to this podcast, and if you want to start your global investment journey, thank you, Vijayji. Thank you very much for your time. It was indeed a pleasure to have insights from you, sir. And to all our listeners, if you are ready to kickstart your global investment journey, you can download AnandRathi Global Access platform from the Google Android Store as well as App Store, and you can start your global investment journey.